Hi everyone, welcome back to Someone's PC. I'm here with Dylan, Brian, and Franco Takahashi, and we're going to be discussing the expanded announcement for regionals, as well as a little bit of the X and Y on standard. But the first thing we want to talk about is our partnership with SixPrizes. So we're proud to announce that over this past week, we worked everything out with Adam, the owner of SixPrizes.com, and we're going to start sharing our YouTube content on their site, as well as promoting his articles on our YouTube channel. Good lord! And,
As you can tell by the SixPrizes logo on our banner.
As you can tell by SixPrizes logo below. Basically, what we're hoping to do is just expand someone's PC and all the knowledge that Dylan and I try to bring to the Pokemon community for people that are starting out, or for people that are friends of us and just want to know what we're thinking about without bombing us on Facebook 24/7, as well as just I don't know, promoting our belief in SixPrizes, because I can say I think SixPrizes is the best Pokemon website we have out on the internet, and they just have high quality content articles from a lot of good writers compared to other websites that are out there.
Our video content is still going to remain free and everything, and there's just still going to be like the premium like pay content. But we decided to partner with them, like Russ said, because they have the highest quality articles. And SixPrizes is only going to get better in the next few months. We're working closely with Adam to make changes for SixPrizes so that it gets even better. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah. So what we're hoping to do is make a lot of changes to SixPrizes that Adam wanted to make over the past couple months, and hasn't really found like how he wants to take his view of the website and expand it. And so when we all talked together, we kind of had a great idea of what we wanted to do, and so those changes should be coming soon. And to reiterate, we're not going to be on here talking about the articles that are posted on SixPrizes. They're going to remain like their own separate content. So if Dylan puts out an article about one of his tournament reports or his clean lists, this and that, we're not going to post deck lists inside our descriptions.
Yeah, instead I might like talk more about like my tournament experience and like rounds and like matchups and just like how the event went in general, hanging out with people on here. And then like the more like lists and like card choices aspect, like and really like in-depth strategy would be on there. So like us, like our channel is still going to be stay the same as what it was, and SixPrizes like articles are still going to stay the same as what they were. But yeah.
But we're going to be kind of guiding everyone to SixPrizes, as well as having our own weekly question and answer thread inside SixPrizes on their forums. So some people still haven't emailed us, or some people like to just message us directly on Facebook. Any questions they have or anything they'd like for us to talk about, we'd rather you just put it into one giant thread on SixPrizes, and
that way it's easier to compile it.
That way it's easier to talk to myself, Mark, Chris, and Dylan.
Sometimes when you guys message us on Facebook, it gets like buried, or like we have to like compare notes with each other. So it's just a lot easier to have it all in place.
Yeah. So we're having those changes and more come soon to both SixPrizes and for someone's PC. We're hoping to update a little bit of things. I'm also going to become one of the underground writers, barring that I don't completely suck. So
after the first month,
I haven't written before. I have no evidence to like support it.
So
I do write like crazy. So Dylan's gonna be like proofreading and trying to keep me in line.
Next month or September the latest. Definitely look out for Russ writing. Probably about Flygon or something.
Hopefully about Flygon. I feel like I could talk. I can write like a novel on the intricacies of Flygon.
The entire year, Russell's just gonna write about like Flygon, how the new set impacted
for Worlds last year. I put out a Word document for like 8 of my friends that were all considering Flygon for Worlds, and the Word document was like at least 7 pages long, and I only discussed 6 matchups. And some people were like, no, like you can play this matchup if you play this way, and then that's it. I was like, no, man, there's intricate, cute things that you can be doing to mess with your opponent mentally with Flygon that you can't with other decks. And they're like, this is stupid. And then they read it, and And Dylan Dry was one of them. He was just like, "Wow, really? This is amazing." I was like, "Thank you. These are things you do to like dupe your opponent."
Yeah, there's some other potential new people that might be writing for SixPrizes too. So just like having like new, like bigger name players like Russell and stuff writing for SixPrizes should hopefully like improve the quality even further.
Yeah.
The other big thing that we wanted to talk about was the tournament series that we were planning.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to finish that, but.
Did you have another? Did you want to finish up?
No. The tournament thing. I thought you were gonna finish it because you seem hyped.
Okay, yeah.
We're gonna do a tournament similar to what Jeremy Jalen and Josue are doing right now, with like this PTC Go big name player versus big name player kind of tournament.
Except it's going to be like team based,
Yes.
which I think somebody on Verbank kind of posted about, and he's like, "Oh, each state could have like their own team," and people kind of seemed hyped about it, but nobody really took action, and it kind of excludes the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. And we don't kind of like limiting it like state by state because I don't know. Because like I don't know if you're like from like Rhode Island, maybe you want to play, maybe you play a lot with somebody from Massachusetts, but do you have to make like an all Rhode Island team? Like that doesn't make any sense. We basically just wanted to have like teams of 3 with like big name players, like maybe like a team with like Russ, myself, and Chris, like a Florida team, a California team, a Canada team, a team from like Brazil or Argentina from like the Spanish community, at least one team from the European community, at least, and get like 8 teams to start out with. Do some kind of like double elimination tournament where each player on each team brings a different deck, and then it's like this, and then like you kind of like send one player in on your team to play against a player on the other team. Yeah. It's kind of like a gauntlet type tournament, so should be super cool. We'll have like casters and make the overlay look really professional. So,
but the big thing that we wanted to iterate is there's gonna be prizes.
Yeah, that's it.
We wanted to make it seem like everyone that's entering has something to lose and something to gain.
Yeah, there's going to be like incentive
competition, and we also wanted if this tournament goes well, we wanted to start a separate invitational tournament for any 3 people that want to come play in this league can play against each other and go through like qualifiers and then finally get into the 8-man tournament setup that we have going on. If you guys watch LCS for like League of Legends or anything, same exact thing. It's like you're working through your way from Challenger Series and everything to try and beat someone's spot in top 8.
That way, it's not just like an elitist like tournament. It's like if you think that you're good enough to play with like the best players, if you make it through this open tournament, then you get to play with them. Then you get to play with everybody. Yeah. So yeah.
Some of these people are super overrated. Like some people suck.
In the beginning, we're just like inviting people because we just want to promote our tournament and just see how the community responds to it and how many people view it on Twitch and see how many people like the idea. But if it does catch on, then we're gonna definitely do these open tournaments and hopefully it becomes a really big thing.
Yeah. And we kind of wanted to keep it at Masters only, unless you give us like blatant approval from your parents who email us directly and then gets on Skype with us and tells them that they're okay with their kid playing in this tournament for an entry fee. So it's not going to be something.
We'll probably work.
I don't want kids to hop on there with their mom's credit card. I'm like, oh snap, we lost.
We'll work out the details. We'll work out the details with that as it comes. So it's like it's in the works, but like the latest, at least like after Worlds, like by the latest, we'll hopefully have our first 8-person tournament up and running. There already seems to be a lot of interest for it.
So that's going to be provided by us and SixPrizes. We want to handle most of it, and SixPrizes is going to be providing like prize support and just helping us organize it because Adam's used to organizing different things and
Adam's awesome. So.
Yeah, Adam's the beast. Other than that, I don't think there's much.
All right, yeah.
You can look for us on the SixPrizes homepage. If you click on the section on the left that says videos, it should link directly to our channel. I believe some updates are coming to his homepage as well. We're not positive on that, so.
Yeah. I just wrote an article too. So if you guys want to check
an article, so go ahead and look that out.
Talking about my crazy, chaotic national experience, how I didn't even pack clothes and such. I wrote the whole story on there. So even if you just read the free portion, you could at least read my hilarious story and how unprepared I was.
How the laziness catches up to Dylan.
But I guess the other hot topic in the community is how all the regionals are now officially expanded, and people have very I don't know,
which
differing
is
opinions.
great. It's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Some people think it's great, and some people think it's really
Nothing could be better.
Okay.
Nothing could be better.
Russ just wants to play Flygon.
For the
He
Flygon.
wants to. He's going to. It's a given. This is easy peasy. How do you feel about it, Franco? What do you think about the expanded? Is it unnecessary? Is it cute? Do you get what Pokemon's trying to do? TCPI. They're trying to get they're trying to shift things up.
Do you think it's an improvement from last year?
Yeah.
Improvement, I guess, kind of yes, in terms of, the fact that you don't have to switch deck from one day to the other. So you actually have like a legit time to like test play for the format and for the tournament, so you can come more prepared instead of like last minute trying to figure it out what to play. But it's weird because of the state of all the cards pool makes the format really weird. And the more sets, the more combination, which everyone's been talking about in the community about shift tree and all that. Which I don't know.
I mean, didn't the community kind of get what they asked for though? I mean, everybody was like, "Oh, we hate it having to switch decks for day 2. This is dumb." So then Pokemon's like, "Okay, we'll give you a format where everything is all expanded. Now you don't have to switch decks." Now people are still complaining. Like, they got exactly what they asked for, and they still complain. Like, that's what doesn't make sense to me.
Honestly, this is just like my personal opinion, but just because regional gave out so much points compared with like states and other tournaments, me personally, I would have been okay, or I would have been completely fine if they make like expanded for, I don't know, probably specific states perhaps, or in general. I would have personally liked if I had to play standard format for regionals, just because I guess that's supposed to be the main format usually, and regional gave out to like a lot of points, so I would have been okay with like states being expanded and regional being standard. But I mean, they only announced so far for this coming fall, so you never know, they might change it. So
it might be different. I think like the biggest concern was that people were throwing around is for like the newer players or the younger players, like the card pool, like ignoring like the decks for now, just like the card pool is too big, and it's hard for like newer or like younger players to acquire all the cards for expand it, and it discourages them from playing. Like, how true do you feel that is? And what advice, I guess, would you give to somebody like when it comes to like buying, or like in like I don't know, like which cards to acquire? Because it's kind of like overwhelming when you have like 20 sets or however many there are.
Well, expanded came out like last season, that got introduced. So for example, in my case, I generally tend to keep most of the strong cards, like the eels, the dark patches, and all the stuff. Even though it got rotated out, I knew because there was expanded at some point, I always tend to keep it. So I usually recommend people to like keep your whatever cards you hold on to.
But I mean, like, what about the people that just like started playing like this year or last year, or like they quit for a while and now they started playing again and they don't have all these cards? Like,
make friends.
Make friends. Yeah, because even like not necessarily what was good a while ago, it's gonna be necessarily good now. And when it comes to expanded, new cards get added into the format, so it changes. Like like what's exactly good, what's not good. So I couldn't really say like I couldn't really like suggest like a specific one necessarily, unless for like if it's like for example for current format or for this fall, I want to say okay, maybe get shift trees, get Archeops, cards like that. But if we're talking longer term than that, then I want to say get friends, research, try to find try to test maybe, or find out from friends. And I
think testing like just like ahead of time before you just dump like hundreds of dollars on expensive cards is definitely a good idea. Like, if you just like test like a couple weeks before regionals and you know what you're gonna play, like a week in advance, like you might have to drop a lot of money on cards, but it's not like you have to buy every single staple. You only have to buy singles for one deck and then borrow cards.
Just proxy. As ghetto as it seems, proxy's beast.
Yeah, proxy
like,
and
Yeah.
play,
so
and then
good.
just test
Like,
online on like play TCG and TCG1, and you'll be.
Every card game I've played, just proxied everything, and I knew beforehand whether or not this deck was gonna be trash. And if it happened like that one deck happened to not be trash, cool, I'll just go buy this stuff. I didn't just spend like $200 getting all this like useless stuff that I'll never touch again.
Yeah.
And who knows, if you don't like the expanded format, or if you only have like 2 regionals you're gonna go into the whole year, is it even worth it for you to drop all that money?
I think it really depends when they announce the championship points structure, because if it's 300 championship points again and you're just trying to get a day one invite, you might be able to still get it by just going to states and cities and league challenges and nationals. But if they raise the championship point requirement, if you're
you just want to get by.
You just want to get by. I mean, obviously, I'm a tryhard because I played in so many events. But some people that they just don't have the time to travel to all these regionals or go to Pokemon every weekend because of work. So they just want to get their 300 championship points and get their Worlds invite, and they know that they don't have the time to put into the game to make it to top 16 unless they get a really big nationals run. So which is fair. So I mean, if they keep the championship point requirement where it is, I feel like it is realistic to acquire 300 championship points without actually playing in a regionals. But things might change. We'll see.
What I wanted to discuss was we touched on the large card pool and how that's I think that's a super reasonable like fear, like not fear, I guess
concern.
It's concern issue with expanded. The main one that people are complaining about is the broken combos, and by broken I mean like game-changing, absurd, stupid, silly combos that topple over everything we have now. Because in my opinion, I think Bronzong's broken. I think like consistent energy acceleration out of the grave is ridiculous. But when you play with it, it's not that bad. Like it's like
other things keep it in check.
But in my eyes, I was like, all right, that's broken. But when you go to expanded and you have like so many different options, you have like the Shift Tree NXD.
Yeah, like Franco was saying before.
Yeah, who gets to like Giant Fan and be ridiculous. And then like you can play Durant, you can play Maxi's Archeops and all sort of stuff. And is it better? How do I word it? Is it more logical for them to be concerned with all these broken combos that are potentially coming out and the unknown than it is with like the large card pool that's coming? Like, I don't know how to say it. I feel like some people are lazy when it comes to expanded, and
the large card pool is just they don't want to test everything.
Yeah, they don't want to test all of it, and some person who's going to put in the effort is going to slaughter them at regionals because they found this broken combo amongst it, and they fear that broken combo coming out and they're not being the ones to play it. And in doing so, they want to complain about expanded, and it's all right. And then they've even forced the rumor that there's a ban list.
People don't like change, for sure. I think that is a part of it. Some people never really like if you never played day 2 at regionals, like you never really experienced expanded, and then it's just this kind of unknown format, and they've just been playing standard the whole time, and they don't have all these old cards, and they're just like, why can't it be Pokemon be what it always has been? So, I mean, I think they're judging it too soon. I think the concern is if some of these degenerate combos are actually like too bad for the game, but then hopefully they will create a ban list to get rid of them. I mean, do you want to go through some of the combos like Shift Tree and stuff?
I want to go through the ban list first.
Oh, the ban list. Okay.
All right, what do you think is actually warranted, Franco?
For me, I want to say Shift Tree and Hypnotoxic Laser.
But couldn't you just say the Forest? Like, do you think if you ban Shift Tree and then you're like, okay, so you get to do Vileplume combo, or you can do Executor turn 1 instantly. Why don't we just take care of this giant issue at hand, which is the tree? It's the only thing that made Shift Tree relevant.
I mean, people can already wally into Executor on the first turn.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like that's insane.
Yeah.
But it's a stadium, dude. That's being a stadium is so much different. You can play 4. You can do it after shamans, after supporters.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think Executor is like terrible.
To be fair, I don't know. Like the force is like really strong, but then again, I'm just like giving a theory based on my opinion, but
Yeah, yeah.
the force is really strong, but I don't really see like a really, really like
So
broken
you're like outside of Shift Tree.
combination aside from Shift Tree.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like Bioplume Executor has been discussed, but
I think it's a good
uh,
deck, yeah, but it's not broken.
I think
yeah,
it
it's not
sucks.
broken in my opinion.
Like with
And I
no
feel
damage
like for
output, and you can't
certain
even
type of
question it.
decks, like the forest actually kind of helps them to be good as well. So I
Okay.
don't know. I
The
feel like
shift
he brings a good taste for the game for now.
And laser just because of coin flip sleeps and stuff? Or do you think the damage output for Verbank is still too high? It was too high then, and it is still too high now, kind of thing. Like
It was
in our current
high.
rules format.
It was high, but I really do want to say more for the coin flip because the Burbank is like the Burbank bumps up the damage to between turns, which it's one of the reasons, but it's mainly because these from sleep, you get the 30 between, but if it's just Burbank itself, you can still break their stadium and all that. So there's ways around it. So I don't know. I feel like it's more about laser because
I
of
think the
the
laser
sleep
sleep flip
poison.
is fine. It should have never
Yeah.
been printed on the card, but I
Yeah.
don't think that it's like enough for laser to get banned. Like if people are playing laser, you can tech Brizzy NEX, you can tech Pokemon Center Lady, you can tech Keldeo. Like there's a lot of ways to interact with it. I think the problem with Shiftery is it's like not a very interactive card. Just like if your opponent goes first and their deck does what it's supposed to do, you just lose
Hmm.
the game, and it's
And he
like
gave a
unfun.
Fennekin coin. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
Peace.
I mean,
So it's
Honest,
over.
Fennekin's funny X deck.
honestly, I guess I'm mainly saying laser because I'm keep thinking of the combination between laser and quaking punch, which that makes the annoying
Yeah, yeah.
aspect. But if you mention like that, yeah, Brizian, and even if you have like, if you're able to use like items like switch and all that, I guess laser isn't terrible, perhaps. But yeah, I was thinking for like, quaking punch laser combo perspective point of view.
I mean, I think that them banning Trump card just is gonna make Seismitoad see a decline in play in general. Because the
Yeah.
problem was when the Seismitoad deck could play like 10 lasers in one game, but when they only have access to 4 lasers and they're gonna prize one or Juniper one away, uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems to be like the sleep flip plus quaking punch like is
Hmm.
very tilting. But other than and like you can play cards like Keldeo and Virizion to avoid it. But other than the sleep flip, I feel like the damage is good, but it's not insane. Like
Yeah.
there are ways to tech for it.
I
Okay.
agree. Also, we're also getting Mega Subtile, which I think that could maybe perhaps help in the future if Toad gets out of control, which I don't think so.
I don't think it will.
I
Yeah,
don't.
it
At
probably
least
Yeah,
won't.
at
Yeah.
least in XL1,
yeah,
I don't think it's gonna get.
yeah. But at least I feel like he's there in case anything's kind of thing. Yeah,
If
Yeah.
Manectric wasn't enough to kill it, yeah.
yeah.
Dylan, anything for you that you want to see banned?
No, I mean I was just saying shift. I've kind of said it before, just shift rate because it's not
It's not bad.
interactive.
Yeah.
Like you go first, it's basically just like bad for the game. It's like a win condition that they didn't intend to exist. Like they didn't intend
Hmm.
for all these cards to exist
Yeah,
together.
when
I
they
believe.
created it,
Yeah.
originally.
Yeah.
Same with me.
Like
That's the only reason I want to promote a ban list is if they do say anything that gets out of hand, which Shift Tree looks like it will get
yeah.
out of hand. I actually played with a
Yeah.
couple. I copied Sam Chen's list exactly off of Verbank and played a bunch of TCU 1 games with it, and I thought it was absurd. Like,
Yeah.
there's some games where I just like flipped all tails, and I was like, okay, well, all right, this is the 1L, and then played like 5 more games and just donked my opponent.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a-
this is also a deck that hasn't been like Sam Chen probably like threw together and be like, okay, let me make this as consistent as possible.
yeah, and
Like
that's what I was
it's like
thinking. I was
not
like,
even ironed out yet.
this is
Yeah.
draft 1 or
Mhm.
2 or
Yeah.
because he copied the European guys for the initial list or whoever posted it. I think because someone's foreign's list, and I was like, okay, this is pretty sweet. I never read Recycle before. I never needed to use it. I read it then. I was like, oh, yeah, this is
Yeah, I
cute.
think recycle is pretty excessive in the deck.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, whatever. Like the list will get ironed out if there's no ban list, and people will play,
Mhm.
and it'll be tilting to lose to. Like I mean,
Yeah.
Shifter isn't like a fun deck to play or play against. Like really.
All right,
Yeah.
I mean,
Do-
people might enjoy
Do
giant.
you see a list coming though?
Yeah.
I really don't feel like the list should include anything other than Shifter. That's
Okay.
until the format like develops more and somebody discovers something else that's broken. But
I
Shifter
agree.
is the only obviously broken one.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, turn 1 Executor, like, exists, but you could have done that with Wally before. There was already turn 1 Wally Trevenant, and there, like, was for Nationals. Like, Wally Trevenant wasn't banned, so like, a turn 1 Vileplume with the Giant Plant Stadium also requires a lot of pieces. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I think it's gonna be good, but not broken.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, I don't know. As for Vileplume, I kind of like him in terms of he kind of brings a little balance in terms of speed decks doesn't go too aggro, and at the same time, there's ways to go around Vileplume. So
I feel like all the old school people who like used to play back when like at the SP days, they're all like, oh, this is like good old Vileplume. This card's gonna like impact the format and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think it's a little different now, just because
yeah,
the format's a little faster. People can Lysander it. Like before, there wasn't a way. It wasn't super easy to
yeah, I
kill.
feel the same way.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're basically already into it.
yeah.
The potential for decks that are coming out and expanded.
Yeah, because a lot of people like don't like that are afraid of like this giant card pool. They don't really even know where to start testing, and I feel like that's
Yeah.
their like fear of like expanded.
Yeah,
Like they're so
and,
used to
yeah.
standard, they're not used to these old cards. So I guess what we're gonna go over like some of the things that people should start looking at if
Mm-hmm.
they want to start playing expanded before any ban list is released. I guess.
Yeah. So the first one is definitely gonna be Shift Tree.
Yeah.
It's real. I'll be straight up honest. I loved it when I was playing with it. I was like, this is stupid. Why am I even doing this? But you know, good old Finnegan. We're gonna get there.
Practice your coin flips now.
Because I saw Home Dude hype it on Verbank, and I was like, all right. His list kind of, I don't like it. And I saw Sam put out there, and I was like, okay, Sam's a good player. We'll see where he's like going with this idea. He's also, I believe his job involves statistics and him writing
Part of it, yeah.
analysis.
Yeah.
So he's gonna take a logical approach to it and not just say, oh, flip heads, flip tails, etc. And when I was playing with it, I loved it. This deck's stupid. So if you're gonna test
You thought it was good, or you actually enjoyed playing it?
I enjoy playing
Pretty
it. 'Cause
sure enjoyed.
I just enjoy doing nothing. You know.
See, I wouldn't get joy.
During testing. During testing, I enjoy doing nothing.
During
But like, would I play this at original? No,
Yeah.
not at all.
I mean, if it doesn't get banned, then it has like a high percentage chance at winning, even if it's unfun. I would play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Sorry for rewinding back to where we were with potential. Latios EX was on this ban list that's 60 cards
Oh.
leaked. And
They
took a lot of slack for it. So, is it actual real fear? I heard some things about Japan having it like
That's
Yeah.
strong with plus powers and
Well, here's the thing, because I actually know the guy who built the deck and got second with it.
Yeah.
The initial plan was basically you had two choices. One, if your opponent start off with one basic, you can go through your entire deck and dunk. If your opponents start off with like I believe more than two basics, well, before I go into that, the rules of that tournament in Japan worked like this. It was best out of one all the way until finals. Time limit was 30 minutes. And when gets cold, I believe whoever takes the price difference wins the game. So basically, the plan when your opponents start off with like two or more basic was basically go through your entire deck, trump card it, and then go through your deck again. And just by doing that, you should be able to burn like at least 20 minutes with illegal stalling. So by the time time gets cold, you just take the prize and you win the game basically. And yeah, I mean it's not perfect because if your opponents start off like I believe like double Wobble Fit and stuff, you could lose. But I mean, you know, he managed to get second and get attention from it. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think their ban list was janky. They had Tyranitar on there and like Lugia, Plasma Lugia, EX, and like while these cards are good,
Tyranitar with Dark Patch, dude. Fear. He's
Destroyer King.
He's gonna one hit KO.
Destroy. Aren't there a ton of things that one hit KO?
Don't worry about that. And it's a Mega. Please.
Doesn't Mega Rayquaza one hit KO?
No, I was talking about like standard Rayquaza EX. You know, the dragon.
Oh yeah, I mean both.
I forgot what it does now. It's been a whole year. The eel one. That
Oh,
card.
the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Oh
one.
yeah,
Yeah, he
You
went
discard
chaos.
five. You discard lightnings from 63.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't. I honestly, the ban list just seemed like some troll thing that somebody came up
Okay.
with.
Hmm.
Yeah, it really did.
So
So moving
whatever.
on, going back. If you're playing
Shift.
expanded test shift tree, you need to have the grass stage 1, not the dark one, or else it's not going to work for
Oh
giant forest. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, all right. So like
yeah.
people know that like the entire point of shift tree is to go through your entire deck, and Devo spray and super scoop up and essentially shuffle all your opponent's Pokemon back in with Giant Fan on the first turn. So
yeah,
what can you do to prevent
using
this
his ability drive
strategy?
in. What
What
you can
can
do
you
to beat
do?
it? What you can do to beat it? One, you can go first. Okay. When you go first, you bench 5 Pokemon and look at your opponent, and they lost.
All right.
Unless they hit heads like a god and they got a Fennekin coin, then I don't
Yeah.
know.
The
It might be
hardest counter
iffy.
to the deck is definitely any of the Pokemon with the Theta Stop ability
Data
in
stop.
the new
Yeah,
step,
Theta stop.
which
Hmm.
can't be affected by your opponent's ability. So I think either Baltoy or Celebi if we get the Celebi. So just benching one of those would essentially be a free win against the Shift Tree deck.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
the problem with that is if you're dedicating a spot in your deck or multiple spots in your deck to beat this one deck, and even if you have it in your deck and you don't open it, or if you prize it, you still lost. And
Yeah,
and,
I
Yeah.
think the
and,
problem is
and
that the
that's where
Shift Tree
you
deck
guys are
goes.
trying to get with the whole. There's no interaction with this
Yeah.
card
Yeah.
that can just
If you
potentially
play
end the
one
game.
Theta Stop Pokemon and the Shift Tree player goes first, you most likely lose because you won't start with that one Pokemon. And the matchup is about a 50-50 then, which sucks.
Yeah. That's why I feel Shift Tree is should be in an event list if there is, for that reason.
Then the more universal counter is obviously Wobbuffet.
Yeah.
If you go first with a Wobbuffet, if you go second but you open with a Wobbuffet against the Shift Tree deck, in Shift Tree's current form, they have no way to they have no way to knock out the Wobbuffet because the deck doesn't play any energy. So then you can just set up behind Wobbuffet and then execute your strategy and win the game.
Yeah.
And then going first, you can just Ultra Ball for a Wobbuffet and then get it active and do the same thing. So I think that Wobbuffet is going to be the more common answer than the Theta Stop Pokemon, but if Shiftry really is everywhere and it doesn't get banned, then I could honestly see people playing both. Just like a Theta Stop guy for extra insurance.
Yeah,
I don't know.
just to
It's good
solidify it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
people aren't gonna want it. Like this is a deck that like is gonna be very frustrating to lose to, and it's certainly
Yeah.
not the kind of thing I would want to lose to. I just wouldn't be surprised if people tech the extra card to beat the really annoying decks.
Plus, look at it. Like, ugh.
It's
Shift
ferocious.
tree. He's like a city
I
in the
like
background.
Shiftry as a Pokemon though. I
No,
don't know.
him as a
I
Pokemon's cool. That picture sucks. That picture's
okay.
boring. He looks stupid.
Like when I first got into the game, I built some janky Shiftry EX decks. I have a soft spot for Shiftry.
Weirdo. Alright. Next is the Vileplume Executor.
Okay.
I think it's pretty straightforward. Executor has a blockade, which stops your opponent, which is an attack that stops your opponent from playing supporters, and then you set up a Vileplume, which stops both players from playing items using its own ability.
And you try to do this on turn 1 or turn 2 with the giant plant for it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If you play this deck, you're not a good person. Like you're just a mean dude. Like you're insulting. It's not
Your
even
opponent can't do
towed.
anything.
It just sits there. You're just like looking at it. And then they
Yeah.
Lysandre or Vileplume and you play AZ on it, and you just repeat and you look at them like why they're wasting your time. Or
I mean,
you
it's
can't
like
play Lysandre because you have Executor. I suck. Holy God, this deck is stupid.
it's like even though you can do all this stuff, you prevent your own items. So Executor's damage output is actually really low. So you give your opponent, and you can't play any hammers while you're locking your opponent, with Vileplume.
Yeah.
So if you just attach basic energies to your bench Pokemon and Executor is only doing 10 or 30 damage a turn, then it's going to be very, very difficult. I guess like they could play Ariados for poison and stuff, but like if they play a grass deck, Ariados doesn't even work. I'm just not sure if it actually applies enough pressure to beat your opponent or not. I guess time will tell. It seems like it's an annoying deck, but it doesn't seem super broken just because the damage output is so low.
Yeah, but it's definitely on people's minds when they're talking about fearing the expanded. So
yeah.
regardless, yeah.
So it's definitely something to test out, and it's definitely one of the broken combos that people are hyping.
I feel the same way. And once again, getting back into it, if you somehow happen to play Wobbuffet, and if you open up, at least Wobbuffet is stopping the Vileplume, so at least you have the option to play items as long as he's active. So I don't know. I feel like there's ways around it though.
Yeah,
Yo,
just like
Wobbuffet's coming
Wobbuffet,
in the
the
clutch,
Ultra Ball
man.
for Shaman. Yes, alright, so
Yeah,
Wobbuffet's good against
Wobbuffet Nation.
Shiftry, Wobbuffet's good against Vileplume, and Wobbuffet is also good against Archaeops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Next up, because we're going to like 34 minutes right now. Durant.
okay.
Is the deck out real? I don't remember his name, play against Sereno Radu in the semifinals of the Expanded Beach Tournament, the very first one at Nationals this year, and I think he drew like garbage against Lanny Bats and then lost. But the Durant plus Bunnelby, Ninjask, Trick Shovel, Deck Out Madness, it looked really funny. Like, I wouldn't want to play against it just because if they mill the right card that you need at this exact moment, you get kind of bodied. But
Kind of what happened when Durant came out during Cities. Everybody said Durant was terrible. And then I remember the first Cities I went to, basically a lot of people had decks that just straight up would get destroyed by Durant, but Durant is terrible, so it shouldn't win. And the Durant, and like I think a dad played a very terrible Durant list, but still got second, mostly because there was a Pokemon that did 30 damage to all your opponent's Pokemon, so they could do 30 to all the Durants and knock them all at once. And his Durant deck didn't play Eviolite, which is the equivalent of Hard Char.
okay,
So if had he had Eviolite in his deck, then all the Durants would have only taken like 10, and then it would have been a lot better. But
Mhm.
but he basically got second with like a terrible version of Durant that everybody said was terrible, and then people started refining Durant, and then Durant started winning, and then people started teching for Durant, and then it kind of got balanced. I think in like this expanded tournament, I think nobody was really taking into consideration Durant when choosing their deck, and then they kind of got wrecked by some guy who just thought it would be really fun to throw all the mill cards in one deck. And I think it's kind of the same thing. Like that shows that the mill cards have potential, but like that like build like obviously has to be ironed out, and then once it gets ironed out and it like proves to be tournament worthy, people will try and counter it by like playing Benelby in their own deck, for example, or something like that. So I
Franco,
think
did you have any experience with Durant or anything? Or were you playing it any time? I don't know.
Well, I know somebody who used it in a big tournament, but I wouldn't want to say it was like a meta thing.
Yeah.
But in the tournament, he actually proved that it was actually a viable deck. I don't know. Mill decks are usually kind of, in my impression, they're usually like a good deck, but at the same time, when you're facing against one, you just kind of have to know how to deal with it, like in terms of like how to play against it.
Gotcha.
So I think it's one of those decks that it could be good sometimes, and sometimes you might play it and you might step on the wrong field, perhaps.
So it's like a decent workable gimmick. Is
Yeah.
like what you're getting at.
I mean,
Yeah.
couldn't people just tech keep more and knock out the Durants for 1 energy? Hot lick or hot tongue or whatever.
I have no idea what that even does. What does it do?
It's literally like a card that does a
Yeah.
fire Pokemon that does 1 per 10, and if the defending Pokemon is Durant, it does like plus 40 or plus 50.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
specifically. Yeah.
It like
Okay,
came out like
because he's an anteater Pokemon.
yeah, it came out like
And
2
then
sets after Durant. Yeah.
Alright.
After Durant had its like time, and after Durant had like was gonna fade out of the metagame because Dark Patch and Darkrai EX got printed, they just like decided to really like lay the
Kick it
nail
in
in
the
the
mouth.
coffin for Durant,
Kick
and
it in the mouth on the way
just-
out.
Just in case.
just in case that wasn't enough, they printed Heat more. So I feel like that is like a card that will definitely keep it in check.
Okay. Archeops. Moving on.
Yeah, I started to talk about that before. I mean, people. This was in the old expanded format for Day 2 of regionals. A lot of people would throw this in either with Night March or Yveltal, and they would use Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick to get a turn 1 Archeops in an all basic deck to stop your opponent from evolving.
Yeah.
But like I started to mention before, Wobbuffet is a good way around this. You could just promote Wobbuffet and then evolve your Pokemon. So if you've been keeping track, Wobbuffet is good against Vileplume, Shiftry, and Archeops.
So dumb.
So definitely a card to invest in if you're new.
Yeah.
If you're new to the format.
Don't worry about trying to get the shiny one that I have for the picture. There is a cheaper version.
It's from like Dark Explorers or
Dark
Noble
Explorers,
Victories,
yeah.
and
No,
it's like
no,
50
I think
cents.
Noble Victories is the
Yeah,
Yeah, Noble Victories.
yeah.
okay. One or the other. It's like 50 cents
Yeah.
for one.
Get that one.
So-
It's
At
worth,
least for now.
It's worth your $1.
Yeah.
have it, because it's not just good on its own. It's splashable. Like you can
Yeah.
dedicate like a 2 to 3 or 4 card combo if you're already playing Battle Compressor in your deck, and just be able to consistently have this card go off.
Basically, if you play any evolutions, though, you want to make sure that you have some out to a turn 1 Archeop, so you just don't want to lose if your opponent sets it up because it is so splashable.
Yeah.
So you want to play something like Wobbuffet or Evo Soda or Wally to be able to get around the ability.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Wobbuffet OP.
Yeah, Wobbuffet's super good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on, Wobbuffet Groudon with Beach, because we already talked about how absurd Wobbuffet is, into keeping all these decks in check that can't play Silent Lab, because that hurts them in their own way, you know. So
Yeah.
So another deck that has potential is Wobbuffet, Beach, Groudon. Just a standard slow down. Once you get 4 energies, beat the living mess out of your opponent, and Wobbuffet locks them.
I think with the right meta, it's good.
Yeah.
I think that's always the thing with Groudon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is there any other way to have Wobbuffet be a 4 of in a deck, and like outside of Groudon besides Crobat? So you have like Wild Crobat, which is pretty decent. I'm not sure if you want to touch that in Expanded though, because there's so many things. Like how many people do you guys actually think are going to cover to these lock decks if they're that good? Because like during the time, like do you think people actually have like the guts to pull the trigger on Shift Tree, or just like those
Some people are gonna play it.
You have like Canavis and Harrison who just play Bunnelby at Nationals, and like do you think that even if they like sat down with it, went to a room full of 200 people and kept playing this deck over and over again, that even like 20 people will pull the trigger on playing it? It's like that's what I'm feeling. I feel like we hype the Sphere for all these particular decks, and then you still have a general 60 to 80% of the community that aren't going to play them just because they don't like how it looks or how it plays.
I mean, when there's such a large card pool, then there's definitely going to be a very large variety of decks. But I feel like there's going to be enough Shifter where you would face it at least one.
For sure.
And then
I think it has hype on Burbank. Have you seen all the Shift Tree?
Yeah, I know. But
all the people like showing their shopping cart how much Shift Tree stuff they're buying. Like, I think that there are people that will pull the trigger on this deck.
Okay.
It's cheap and easy to play.
Right, so the Shift Tree hype is real, and should have to deal with it in some sort of way.
Yeah.
The last card is a Selgor.
Yeah.
Which I love. Deck and cover. Get it in.
Yeah. A lot of people, I think Excelgor is like a very like love or hate card, like for its entire existence in Standard and Expanded. I mean, Russ likes to play it with Flygon, obviously.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But the other deck to watch out for is Trevenant Excelgor. I remember, I think like there was like a European like Challenge Cup, and that was all Expanded, and I think everybody just kind of like wrote off Trevenant Excelgor because it was doing bad in the US and nobody teched for it, and then Trevenant Excelgor like won or got second or something. It's just like the deck that it's like so good, and it's one of the most broken decks in Expanded. But then if people start playing stuff like Aromatisse with Wonder Energy or a lot of Pokemon Center ladies or some way to get around Trevenant Excelgor, then the deck becomes very bad. It's like you can pick up a lot of auto wins, or you can play against a lot of prepared opponents and have a really bad day. So it's really just a metagame call. But just, I don't know, paralysis plus some kind of like lock, either like with like Flygon and Dusknoir or item lock is really strong. Maybe even with people might try and play it with Vileplume because it's a grass Pokemon and it takes advantage of the giant plant forest thing.
Yeah, so it was pretty good.
Lots to see. But Excelgor will have an impact with something, I'm sure, and expand it. Not sure what the best way to play it yet is, but Excelgor is always a card to look out for.
Okay.
For sure.
We have all those potentials covered without us going ahead and testing. Like once we test more into Expanded and have a better idea, we're gonna do another video and talk about our results.
We were just kind of trying to go
deck list. We're just trying to come up with like initial thoughts and then what we're gonna see here. We're like nearing to the end. We're gonna have X and Y on test videos this weekend with Dylan and myself and all the other guys for Someone's PC. Sadly, Franco can't make it because he's 12 hours away from us.
Unless you want to drive up, Franco. It's not too
Yeah,
late.
unless you want to drive up, man. It's totally fine if you want to do that. But,
All right, let me get.
get going now. We're gonna be providing deck lists and our reasonings behind card choices in the descriptions of our YouTube videos.
Yeah. So the next video will be like more like it'll be like us like playing and like possibly like commentating the more interesting games. Like there'll actually be deck lists and stuff. So if there is like any decks that you guys want us to test specifically in the X and Y format, we'll proxy to build it. Just even if it's not an exact list, just be like, oh, I want to see Tyranitar, or I want to see Vileplume plus X, or I want to see Skeptile. Just because we don't have, there's like a lot of like different X, Y on things that people are hyping, and we only have so much time on our hands. So if there's a deck that a lot of people are asking about, we want to make sure that we get that content out there for you guys.
Yeah. So we're gonna start, hopefully start that thread soon on SixPrizes, where everyone can start posting questions, ideas, or anything they want us to talk about. If you want to comment below or just message us at someone's PC at Facebook, then that'll be greatly appreciated. Because sometimes Dylan and I just get so busy that when we come up with things to talk about, we forget what people are asking us, or the questions will get buried. So like last time when Wimbolt messaged us his giant message full of questions and what to do at Worlds, it really, really helped us set up a template and an outline of where to progress our talks. Because Dylan and I, our general idea of just doing this was chat back and forth about current events in Pokemon, and we'll get good content out of that. Because he likes to rant, and I like to mention like stupid things, and then we get
our friends on it.
Yeah, I don't rant. It's good.
I don't rant too bad. You go during this for it. So, yeah, that should be all. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, be sure to check out
someone's PC.
Check out SixPrizes.
Yeah, check out SixPrizes.
Subscribe to see our testing videos.
Good plays, quality stuff.
All right, and thanks to Franco for helping us out.
Thank you for Franco for coming on and helping us out at this
hanging out with us.
Wee hours of the morning.
So good. So good. We're all busy.
All right, peace, guys.
Take it easy.
All right. Yes, sir.